Awesome, and we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of WunderGraph Show Tell, an unedited, unscripted edition where we show what we built in our last sprint. Today, we got some interesting things to go through. We have our Monorepo presented by Yuri, TypeSafe Secrets RFC by Jens, CI examples by Alberto, and bug fixes to our cloud, and introducing support for Node.js 18, followed by our closing notes. To start it off, let's hit Monorepo support with Yuri. Yuri, feel free to share your screen.
Yeah. Well, let me share my screen.
Very nice. Give it a couple of seconds. It was not pre-shared. Go ahead, Yuri.
Yeah, 1 second.
Do we now wait 2 minutes again for a deployment?
Let's see. So let's try to deploy a Turborepo example. We made a few improvements since last week based on feedback from our customer. We worked on some edge cases. We increased deployment speed, and redeployment is also twice faster now. And it's finally released.
Very nice.
Awesome.
We need to wait approximately 2 minutes or so.
Great. And what kind of Monorepos does it support now?
It supports Turborepo. It supports Monorepo in general, and we need to test NX Monorepo support.
Okay.
That includes PNPM, YARN workspaces, NPM workspaces.
Yes.
Okay, so a whole bunch of edge cases already covered.
Very nice.
Okay, while we wait for the deployment, should we quickly talk about secrets?
The TypeSafe secrets? Yeah, we can.
Yeah, then switch it over to my screen.
You got it.
Awesome. Yeah, so a while ago, we introduced support for secrets in WunderGraph. This sprint also we fixed one bug in WunderGraph Cloud where you were not able to use secrets during the build step. And that means you can now configure your database or anything and put the database string into a secret. It now works during the build and also at runtime. So that should unblock every kind of complex deployment. And one thing was left at the very beginning when we started exploring to introduce secrets. We were thinking about how we can make secrets actually a pleasant experience. And so when you look at most cloud solutions, the flow is usually like that. You somewhere in your code you define environment variables. For example, you use something like process env, and that's like process env var, like here. And then when you deploy this to the cloud, you actually have to remember all the environment variables you used. You need to understand what's the use case. And when you deploy it, all of them must be present. And so once you configure your cloud, you need to think about, okay, did I configure everything correctly? Is it validated, etc., etc.? And so we thought, how can we do it better? And we're not yet releasing the feature. We just finished the RFC process. And here's how it's going to look like. So you can use something like Zot to define an object schema. In this case, we have node-env, we have an OAuth client ID, and we have our SQLite DB, which is optional. So this string is optional, and this string is required, the OAuth client ID, and we can also describe it. And this does two things. One, we now have type-safe access to those variables. So in WunderGraph, if you anywhere want to use an environment variable, it's now type-safe. That's one thing. The second thing is we can validate this when we start up your application. So we can actually throw an error and say, hey, this was required. It's not present. And the third thing is, during the CI process, we can extract all of this information, and we know exactly, okay, node-env is required, but we have a default, that's good. And OAuth client ID is required, and here's the description. So what can we do if you go to cloud? Do you see this as well? I'm not sure if I'm sharing this correctly.
Yes.
We see it.
Okay,
Yep.
nice. So if you go here to environment variables, and you said, this is required, OAuth client ID, then in this screen, you will see that OAuth client ID is required, and you have to set it. Otherwise, it wouldn't let you deploy. So yeah, don't deploy stuff that would actually not work. And I think that's a simple solution that, for one, it gives you type-safe access to your environment. You get validation, and the user interface helps you to actually set up all the environment variables. So yeah, we think it's super cool, and it should help handle the environment much easier. And with that, back to Yuri.
Yeah, as you can see, project is successfully deployed, and I already prepared the demonstration that we can retrieve data.
Can you quickly show us the code of the repo?
Sure.
Very nice. And it took about average 2 minutes, right, Yuri?
Less than 2 minutes this time.
Nice.
And what's the redeployment time?
Redeployment time is approximately 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, and here we have Turbo, and then where is the WunderGraph stuff located?
Inside the apps directory API, and yeah, as you can see, there is no .wundergraph directory.
Okay, and all of this is detected automatically.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
You could also show the
Amazing.
logs, the deployment logs, where you can see it looks a bit different if you're using a Monorepo or a single repository, single application.
Yeah, let's see the deployment logs. You might have to zoom in a bit, but
Okay, you're using localhost, and on localhost we
I'm using localhost.
have no logs. Okay.
okay, awesome. Great job, Yuri.
That's the best host.
Next up, Alberto, you're going to be showing us the CI examples. Let's add your screen.
Thank you. So, hello everyone. We, as you know, we are making a lot of changes in WunderGraph. Implementing a lot of new things, and sometimes those new things, conflict with the old ways in unexpected ways. So we have a hard time, or we used to have a hard time keeping up all the examples, because we have, a lot of them, as you can see here. All of these are examples about a lot of things you can do in WunderGraph. They are ready for you to start doing something cool. But, maintaining all of this takes time, and it was difficult to realize when something broke. So we were relying on users to tell us when something was not working. We were trying our best, but we failed to keep up. So we decided, instead of doing manual work, we put the machines to work for us. So we wrote a CI workflow, continuous integration. I think most of you will know what it is, but just in case, it's something that runs whenever we change the examples. So now when something is broken, we find out immediately, and we can fix them as soon as possible. In fact, we have been running this for a few days, and it's been already doing some work for us. So we are quite happy with this, and we are looking forward, to making more examples, because now it takes us less work to maintain them, so we can provide more things. And in fact, we in the last few days we already made 2 more examples. One about uploading files, and I think the other one, I think you wrote it, Dustin, right? One about TypeScript and the TypeSafe client, I think. So
Yes.
yeah, it's already making a difference for us. And you have in case you want to run CI on your WunderGraph applications, you can use this as a basis. The scripts are in our open source repository, and you can use them for your own project. So we hope you will like this chance. And with this, I think we are ready to go to the next one, or back to Stefan.
And I think one important aspect we didn't mention yet is we also try to ship tests with each example, right?
Yeah. The CI is not only testing that the code compiles. Or most of the examples also have a few tests from the testing framework we showed last week, and we are also adding some end-to-end tests using Playwright. So yeah, hopefully over time the idea is to have all of them thoroughly tested, so they can always be working, and also you can use the test as a basis for your own project, because it's really a good practice to have a few tests, and it helps you a lot when the machine works for you. So yeah, it took some work, but we are all very happy with the result, and we hope you will be as happy as we are.
Great job, Alberto. And just
Thank
let
you.
us know below in the comments what you guys think of the examples, which examples you guys want to see, anything like that, and we'll see what we can do. Next up, Dustin with the bug fixes to the cloud and support to Node.js 18. Take it away, Dustin.
Yeah, last but not least, we have shipped several important bug fixes to our cloud. That includes, for example, email verification if you sign up for the first time. We also fixed, or better to say, Jens fixed secrets on our cloud builds. Now they are available on the cloud builds, not only at runtime. And yeah, and I also worked on an example to demonstrate how to use the auto-generated TypeSafe client from WunderGraph with Node.js. I will show it to you. So it's pretty easy. We installed the package.
I'm
Now
gonna
I have
switch the view, Dustin, just so they can see better. Or do you in a little?
you mean Zoom?
Yeah, can you zoom in a little bit? Yeah, that's better. That's better.
Okay, so let me start WunderGraph in development mode. As I can very easy just with the client here, it will use the auto-generated client. It defaults to the base URL of your
Can you
started
zoom in
WunderGraph.
on the code a bit?
Yeah, make it bigger. A little more.
So you use here the auto-generated client. These are all the defaults. I just want to highlight the different properties. You can specify a different base URL if you has started your server on a different port. You can also use a different fetch implementation. If you're using a Node 18, Node 18 shipped experimental version of fetch, so you don't need Node fetch polyfill. But yeah, I did it for backwards compatibility. And you also can set some custom headers if you want. And then very easy, you have TypeSafe queries. You can make a request, whatever you want. And this example, of course, also is shipped with tests. So let's run the tests. We build a production build of your WunderGraph, runs the test against it, and successfully done.
This means, for example, you can create a composition of services, put them behind a WunderGraph instance, you secure it with token-based auth, and then you can do, for example, a client credentials flow, get a token from your OpenID Connect provider, put it as an extra header authorization, and then you can have something like an Express Node.js server and securely talk to your WunderGraph server that does all the API composition. So not just web and React Native, but also now available to Node.js. Super nice. And I also, when I learned to code. I was a lot in Java land, and whenever you scaffolded a new project with Java, there was always a test directory and at least one test, so you got a sense of how do I test my Java app. And I really like this idea of each WunderGraph app should come with one test, so that people see how do I test WunderGraph. So really like it.
Awesome. Great job, Dustin. And so that concludes our episode of WunderGraph Live, episode 5, unedited, unscripted, where we talk about everything we did in our past week. So with the holidays coming up, Jens, are we going to do another episode next week?
I would say no, maybe yes, but probably no. I guess we're back next year.
Awesome. Well, with that, guys, everybody have a great holiday season. Stay warm. I'll be fine here in Miami, but everybody else, good luck. And we'll see you guys next year.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.